Peter Parker's origin is the gold standard of comic book storytelling. A bite from a radioactive spider, a tragic personal loss, and a clear moral lesson about power and responsibility. It is clean, cohesive, and perfectly unified around a single theme. Then there is Jessica Drew. Her early mythology is a tangled mess of contradictory ideas. Depending on the issue you read, she is a brainwashed Hydra assassin, a warrior battling Arthurian magicians, or an actual spider artificially evolved into a human being. This diagram charts the real-world panic that caused this narrative whiplash. In the late 1970s, Marvel learned that a rival animation studio, Filmation, was producing a new cartoon starring a heroine named Webwoman. Fearing they would lose the rights to the spider prefix for any future female characters, Marvel executives scrambled. They slapped together the character of Jessica Drew and rushed her into print in Marvel Spotlight issue 32. Jessica Drew entered the world as a corporate defense mechanism to secure a copyright. Because her existence preceded her personality, writers spent the next several years trying to figure out who she actually was after the issues were already on shelves. Because her creation was mandated by the legal department, the editorial team had no series Bible and no long-term roadmap. This flowchart outlines her origins. First, a literal spider artificially evolved into a human. That proved too weird, so writers rewrote it. A human child dying from radiation, saved by a spider-serum. Finally, a pregnant mother hit with a DNA splicing beam. Every new writer added strange ingredients to the mix, resulting in a power set that had almost nothing to do with spiders. She fired bioelectric venom blasts, glided on air currents, and emitted pheromones that attracted men. Her comic book issues suffered from massive tonal whiplash. One month, she would be beguiling Morgan Le Fay, a powerful sorceress from Arthurian legend. The next, she fought Daddy Longlegs, a tap-dancing criminal stretched to 13 feet tall. This level of narrative instability could not sustain a monthly audience. Sales dropped, and Marvel's solution was to have her lose her powers entirely. By the mid-1980s, the original Spider-Woman was quietly retired. Benching Jessica Drew solved the creative problem, but it revived the legal one. If Marvel left the mantle empty, they risked losing the Spider-Woman trademark all over again. To keep the rights active, they introduced Julia Carpenter. Operating as a government agent, her powers relied on psychokinetic webbing rather than physical strength. Next came Maddie Franklin, a 15-year-old Spider-Man fangirl. A mystical ceremony gave her the power of flight and psychic spider legs. Then there was Charlotte Witter, conditioned by Dr. Octopus into a villainous Spider-Woman. She hunted down the other women to absorb their powers. What ties this era together is how weirdly disconnected it is from the core Spider-Man universe. Instead of fighting bank robbers in Queens, these women were navigating psychic phenomena, dark magic, and black ops espionage. Passing the title from person to person proved that Spider-Woman was not bound by a single restrictive formula. The constant turnover created a rich, multi-genre tapestry, proving the mantle was big enough to hold entirely different stories. When Jessica Drew finally returned to reclaim the mantle in the modern era, she was immediately brought into the center of Marvel's main publishing line as a core member of the New Avengers. Writers used her fragmented history to kickstart the Secret Invasion storyline. They revealed that the Jessica Drew who had spent months operating with the Avengers was actually Veronke, the queen of the Skrull Empire, using Jessica's identity to lead a clandestine takeover of Earth. Her successors continued to evolve alongside her. Julia Carpenter permanently leveled up from her espionage roots, taking on the role of a blind, clairvoyant oracle known as Madam Web to guide the entire Spider family. Because Jessica never had a rigid, sacred blueprint like Peter Parker, modern writers have the freedom to take massive creative risks with her character. She has operated as a morally ambiguous double agent for S.H.I.E.L.D., a gritty, street-level private investigator, and even fought crime as an active, pregnant superhero. The corporate scramble for a trademark gave Spider-Woman a foundation built on narrative instability. That chaos allowed the character to survive decades of shifting genres, roles, and identities that would have broken a hero with a more restrictive origin story.